This is the definitive Metallica tier list, ranking all 10 of the studio albums, excluding Garage Inc. There's only one place we'll be starting, and that's in D with Saint Anger. Saint Anger is going at the bottom. The biggest metal band in the world released an album with not a single guitar solo on it. Lars's snare sounds like a bin. However, when they play some of the songs live now, they don't sound as bad, especially Frantic. Moving on to C, the first album here will be the second most recent album, Death Magnetic. Although it's not a bad album, there's very few standout moments. Some of the better songs on it are Cyanide, All Nightmare Long, and The Unforgiven 3. Also going into C will be Reload. Reload is the last album to feature Jason Newsted before he left the band. The album's pretty experimental, with only 2 good songs really, Fuel and Memory Remains. The last album that will go into the C tier is Hardwired. The most recent album released by Metallica was their attempt at going back to the original thrash metal sound from the 80s. Although it's a good album, it lacks memorable guitar solos. It all feels improvised and doesn't have the same feel within the solos as the Black Album or Master of Puppets. Moving on to the B tier, the first album we have here is Load. Load is the natural progression from the Black Album, with them going more experimental and not just sticking to metal. They went in all different directions on this album with country songs. They've got a couple of metal songs, rock songs. It's just a combination of all different factors, which makes it a bit of a mess, but it works. Perhaps surprisingly, the final album in the B tier will be the Black Album. The Black Album is what brought Metallica to the mainstream. However, over the years it's become increasingly stale, with the amount of reissues of the album, the amount of times the songs have been played. At pretty much every show up until last year, Metallica have played Sad But True and Sandman and Nothing Else Matters without fail, with the latter being the closing for most concerts. It's just boring. On to the A tier, and unsurprisingly, the first 4 albums Metallica ever released are the top 4 albums on this tier list. Coming in first out of them 4 is Ride the Lightning. Ride the Lightning is 8 tracks that are just in your face and non-stop, with some of Metallica's most iconic songs coming off this album, such as Creeping Death, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Fade to Black. There was very little to separate these next 2 albums, but I've gone with And Justice for All next. And Justice for All is a very complicated album with very long songs on it. However, it contains some of Metallica's best ever riffs, with Blackened, One, and Harvester of Sorrow all featuring on this album. The final album going into the A tier will be Kill 'Em All. Kill 'Em All is Metallica's debut album. What more can you ask from a debut album? The songs are fast, they're loud, they're in your face. You've got Cliff Burton's bass solo, you've got Seek and Destroy, The Four Horsemen, No Remorse. You can't really ask for much more. That leaves one album to conclude the definitive Metallica tier list, and it was only ever going to be one album. Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is 8 tracks long, and you can't skip a single one. The lyrics, the riffs, the themes. Master is the album that defined Metallica. So that was the definitive ranking of all 10 of Metallica's studio albums. Do you agree or disagree with my rankings? Thanks for watching.